Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, what is happening? Breakup Brad here with another video teaching you how to reverse a breakup and get back together with your ex. Now, here's a few of the questions that I'll be answering right here in this video. What is the right way to use the no contact strategy? Does the no contact strategy always work? When is using no contact a bad idea? Why do some breakup coaches advise against using no contact? What mistakes do people make when using the no contact tactic? And how can you tell if no contact is working? So guys, if you want to know how to use no contact properly, or whether it's going to work on your boyfriend or a girlfriend, then please keep watching. Before I begin though, please remember one very important thing while you're watching the rest of this video, and that is that no contact is not the only thing that you need to do to get your ex back. It's just one piece of my 3R system, which is a step-by-step strategy for reversing a breakup and getting a fresh start with your ex. Make sure you watch my full tutorial video at breakupbrad.com in order to learn more about what you need to do to win back your ex, including some of the key steps that you must take before employing no contact. All right, moving on. The first question, what is the right way to use the no contact strategy? So I don't think I really need to spend too much time here explaining what the no contact strategy actually is. You can watch some of my previous videos here on YouTube or go to breakupbrad.com to learn the full details. But basically it involves just shutting down all communication with your ex for about 30 days. That means no drunk texts, no calls, no accidentally bumping into your ex somewhere. No contact really means no contact. So essentially the correct way to employ no contact, at least if you want it to work like it's supposed to and help you win back your ex, is to actually not contact your ex at all. So if you only do a half-assed version of no contact, if you give in and reach out to your ex or allow them to draw you into a conversation, then it's not going to work, and you may as well not bother at all. Yes, there are a few situations where you can and maybe even should break no contact, which I will cover shortly in this video here. But generally speaking, you really have to stay disciplined and avoid any communication with your ex during the no contact period. Quite frankly, at least 90% of my coaching clients that fail to get their ex back, they ignore this advice and they don't properly employ no contact. If you don't use this tactic or any of the techniques I teach, then obviously they're not going to work. All right, and moving on to the next question, which is, does no contact always work? No, of course not. There's no strategy that's going to work in 100% of cases. But for almost all of you watching this video, your best chance at winning your ex back will involve using no contact. At the very least, even if you're facing a unique or an unusual situation, you'll likely need to employ a modified no contact. Now, if you guys want my help handling that kind of weird scenario, get my advice on whether you should actually use no contact at all, please sign up for my one-on-one coaching program at breakupbrad.com/coaching. Now, please trust me when I say that this technique does work. In fact, if you just look at the comments on some of my past YouTube videos on no contact, you'll see literally hundreds of people who've used this strategy successfully. It's actually pretty incredible how effective no contact can be when it's employed properly and when it's used in coordination with the rest of my 3R system. Now, some so-called experts, they might tell you that no contact is actually a bad idea and it won't work. Well, frankly, they're full of shit, and I'm going to talk more about why some people actually say that kind of thing later in this video. But first, let's address the next question, which is when is it a bad idea to use no contact? So there's actually a couple of potentially legitimate situations where no contact may not be the right strategy. I've actually written a full blog post on this topic, which I will put a link to in the description below. But to summarize, here's a few of the situations where you might not want to use no contact, or at least where a modified no contact tactic is going to be more appropriate. So situation number one is when you broke up with your ex more than 6 months ago. In a lot of cases, if it's been a really long time since the initial breakup, then no contact won't be necessary unless you've actually still been talking to your ex frequently since the original breakup. And situation number two is when you still live with your ex, work at the same office, or you have children together. Now, most of the time, situations like this are going to require a modified no contact technique. And again, please visit breakupbrad.com/coaching to work with me one-on-one so we can develop a strategy specifically tailored to your situation. And situation number three is when your ex won't stop talking to you or when they become angry and resentful about your lack of replies. So at first, you really want to ignore your ex's attempts to reach out to you during no contact. But very occasionally, an ex might start getting really angry that you keep ignoring their messages. And at that point, you may need to break no contact. Now, this is pretty rare, and it also does tie into the final reason you may not want to use the no contact method, which is situation number 4, when your ex says they want to get back together or asks you outright to take them back. Now, believe it or not, this actually does happen from time to time. That's how effective no contact can often be. But it has to be a very clear sign from your ex that they are 100% ready to get back together. If they simply ask to meet up and talk about things, or if they send mixed signals and say things like, I miss you, but don't clearly state that they're ready to take you back, then you should still use no contact. However, if they're bluntly stating that they want to get back together, then you've basically succeeded, and obviously you can stop ignoring them and go ahead and get back together. Be sure in those kind of situations you don't seem too keen though, regardless of what your ex is saying. You don't want to blow it at this point by being clingy, needy, or overexcited at the prospect of getting back together. Okay, those are the situations where no contact isn't necessarily the best strategy to use. But let's move on to another question, which I get asked a lot, which is, why do some breakup coaches advise against using no contact? Since I started doing breakup coaching over a decade ago, there really wasn't much information out there about this topic at all. And aside from myself and maybe 1 or 2 other respectable breakup experts, no one really talked about the no contact method at all. Now, however, it seems like there's someone new claiming to be an ex-back expert pretty much on a regular basis now. And a lot of them are slamming the no contact method and claiming that it's a terrible idea that never works. Like I said earlier, that is a complete load of shit, and you really shouldn't listen to any of their advice if that's what their opinion of no contact is. And there's really one simple reason that people claim that no contact doesn't work or it's a bad idea. It's because they want to create controversy and generate exposure for their website or their YouTube channel. So they'll often even mention some of my related techniques like the clean slate message or modified no contact. And they'll tell you that these are dumb strategies that are going to hurt your chances rather than actually help you win your ex back. Now they do this again because they know that people are searching Google and YouTube for those terms after watching some of my videos or signing up for my X Factor program. And of course they want to capitalize on that search traffic. Now, another reason that so-called experts will slam no contact is because they know that most people who are trying to get an ex back don't want to ignore their ex. I completely understand why most people are really hesitant to shut down all communication with the person they're still madly in love with. It's scary, right? What if they move on or forget about you while you're ignoring them? It's a lot more appealing to hear, say this one sentence and your ex will take you back, or don't use no contact, use X technique instead. That's exactly what you want to hear in your situation right now. But the only problem is that there really just isn't any substitute for the no contact method, and it's almost always a key component of any effective strategy to get a fresh start with your ex. And finally here, just please check the credentials of anyone that you do take breakup advice from. I've been doing this stuff for over 12 years. I wrote the #1 all-time best-selling Get Your Ex Back program, the X Factor, and I have helped over 150,000 people from 130 countries get their ex back. And lastly, folks, please don't listen to anyone who tries to scare you by claiming that your ex is going to forget about you during the 30 days of no contact. That's utter nonsense, and I've never seen a client blow their chances because their ex suddenly forgot about them after taking a few weeks of not talking to them. So unless your relationship was extremely casual and lasted only a month or 2, then there's really no chance that your ex is going to magically just forget about you or stop caring about you just a few weeks after breaking up. Okay, and the last question here, what common mistakes do people make when they're using the no contact strategy? Now this is an important topic that I do want to quickly cover here in this video because a lot of the time people make one of 2 key mistakes when they're using no contact. And both of those mistakes will make the no contact strategy pretty much useless and unlikely to help you get your ex back. The first mistake, and the one that I see my coaching clients make all the time, sadly, is to cave in too quickly and fail to stick to it for the full 30 days. Like I said earlier, there's rarely a good reason to break no contact, and you need to have faith and really employ it properly if you want it to work. The second mistake that many people make is failing to properly, set the stage before beginning the no contact period. Oftentimes, especially in cases where you've already begged and pleaded with your ex or made other mistakes since breaking up, it's necessary to use my clean slate message template first before you shut down the lines of communication. Or you may need to start, no contact a bit more slowly, reducing your contact over a period of a week or so, rather than just, suddenly starting to ignore your ex cold turkey. This won't apply to many of you watching right now, but if you have made a lot of past mistakes since breaking up, if you've cheated on your ex or done something to wrong them, then it may be necessary to set the stage first before you jump into no contact. If this does sound like your current situation that you're facing right now, you can get access to the clean slate message template as well as many of my other first steps to take before beginning no contact just by signing up for my X Factor program. Just go to www.breakupbrad.com to get the details and get started within the next few minutes. Okay, and the last one here, I promise. How can you tell if no contact is really working? Now, this is another common question that I'm asked on a daily basis. And a while back, I actually made a full video dedicated just to this topic, which you can actually watch just by clicking here. But here's a few of the most important, obvious signs that no contact is working as intended. Sign number one, your ex is contacting you regularly or reaching out far more often than they had been prior to starting no contact. Number two, your ex is trying to make you jealous, or it seems to try and make you jealous. Number three, you learn from mutual friends that your ex has been asking about you. Number four, your ex gives you mixed signals, such as suddenly saying, "I really miss you" out of the blue, when they'd previously stated clearly that the breakup was final. And the fifth sign, you feel better yourself, and you're more able to think and talk about your ex without getting emotional. Now again, those five are just a quick summary of a few signs that indicate ignoring your ex is working the way it should. Don't be alarmed though, if you haven't seen any of these signs yet. Sometimes this technique will be working properly and be doing exactly what it's supposed to be, but your ex just might be really disciplined and not give in to their desire to reach out to you. And in those cases, you won't be able to determine how well it's working. You'll just have to have faith and know that you're using the best possible strategy. And again, like I mentioned, you can just see plenty of comments here on my YouTube channel praising the no contact and testifying to how well it really works and how key it was in winning their ex back. And of course, like I said, you can always get my personal help using no contact and figuring out whether it's whether it's working the way it should just by signing up for my one-on-one coaching. To see all the details of my coaching, to see my current availability, and to sign up, just go to breakupbrad.com/coaching. I promise it is a lot more affordable than you're expecting. All right, and I think we'll leave it there. This video is long enough at this point. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.